Hey, all you cosplayers out there, this is Gary Lamb signing on again to give you an update on my journey with the iconic characters, the street judges. So, for those of you that seen my last video, you know that I'm going to Salem, Massachusetts as Judge Dredd, or a senior judge, I should say, not actually Judge Dredd. And got a couple of issues that I want to touch on. First off, I want to warn you guys so you won't run into the same mistake, and that is measure, fit, measure, fit, measure, fit, and then measure, fit again. And once you thought you are done measuring and fitting, measure and fit some more. Because if you do it that way, you will avoid this big eyesore that I'm dealing with right here. As you see, it's not flush, and it actually dips here. Now, prior to my rounds of sanding and priming, this was perfect. But after I did my sanding and priming, I don't know, maybe I added too much mono here, and I know I dipped in here. I don't know what happened. But this badge is not flush with this thing anymore. So that's my biggest problem with this piece. And I may not get a chance to fix it because there's so many other pieces that I got to do. First, I got to finish the rest of the senior judge's costume, the shoulder pads, the knee pads, the shin guards, all that stuff. But I also have to finish my family's costume. See, my wife is going as a Mass Effect N7 soldier. There's the goggles there. I'm going to use these as the glow-up blues that goes in those particular goggles. I also got to finish her costume. I'm creating an arm cannon for her that actually, comes up. It actually is going to be controlled by a servo, excuse me. It's going to come up, and the gun is going to be pointed, and then with a button push, and then it's going to come down with the same button pushed a second time. There's the bottom there. One of my sons want to go as Judge Dredd, so that's another set of armor that I got to create. Now, my oldest son want to go as Jack Sparrow, so I can just find that in any costume store. That'd be simple. But as far as my wife and my younger son, those things I have to do myself because it's pretty hard to find a Judge Dredd costume versus a Jack Sparrow, simply because of the nature of where Judge Dredd originated. So that's one of my biggest issues. If you notice, this is not nearly as buffed as well as the first video. You can see all the impurities in the clear coat, and that's because once I saw this, I was discouraged to buff. I finished buffing because I was like, let me just buff it out so it can at least whatever. But because I may not get a chance to fix this simply because of all the stuff I have to do. But I did get discouraged. I'm not going to lie. But I did fill in all the pinholes, which were fairly easy. And I'm going to tell you how I did that real quick. All I did was take this brush, dip it in paint, and just dab it in there. Just like that. Clearly it was blue paint. Now, if this was clear coat and the clear coat was wet, I could have did the same thing with the clear coat. Just dip it in the clear coat and dab it. But since the clear coat was already hardened, you can't do that with clear coat. It wouldn't work. So I did that with the color base, and I waited 48 hours, let that, cure. Then I sanded that back. Then I clear coated it and sanded that down and buffed that out. That's how I got this mirror shine. That's how I got it. I might go through my levels or my progression for getting this perfect flat shine in another video. I might actually do it for you on camera if I get a chance to fix that. So because there's a couple of things that I do want to touch up if I decide to fix that, and that is here. If you notice, this is not perfectly flat, right? And all I gotta do is shoot a little bit of clear coat there, buff that out, and then I will get it as flat as this side here, right? And this side is not perfectly flat, but I can live with it. It doesn't matter, if I can. There we go. You see how flat that is on this side? So I can do all that if I get a chance to, but I may not be able to. So that's the bad thing about this helmet. It's because when you look at the comic book versions, the only time Judge Dredd helmet was, distressed or had battle damage was when he was physically in battle. He never comes out of the station with a jacked up helmet. So that's one of the biggest problems with these two pieces because he's known for his helmet and he's known for his gun. All right. So those are the two pieces that need to be almost perfect. When it comes down to the Mass Effect armor, you could tell so much story through battle damage and wear and tear, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But this helmet has to. I can pretty much tell most of the stories I want with the rest of the armor, but I can't do that with the helmet. So this is the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Give me your feedback. This is Gary Lamb signing off. You guys have a good one.